Hey everyone, in this video we're going to focus on three three major tips to get you started when you are doing the default Wanderer start in Kenshi. So the very first thing you'd like to do when you start your game is basically explore the hub. So the hub is the starting point whenever you do the Wanderer start. It is located around the west center of the world map. And while you do not start with much in terms of equipment, money, or stats, there are quite a lot of options or things you can pick up within this town before you start exploring. So let's get started with the important pieces. So the first one you want to look at is this person here in the bar. So this one on the left. So this guy is named Hobbs. He starts as one of the drifters. And you want to talk to him very early on, and I'll show you why. So I won't go over exactly how his dialogue options work, but you basically want to humor him, and you want to choose all the positive options. So he starts out about uh, basically going over a story he wants to share. So let's humor him. That sounds amazing. And then join me. Now, just with those three dialogue options, we have gotten our first party member, Hobbs, over here, who, if you check in terms of inventory, is actually equipped much better than us. And in terms of stats, he has slightly higher starting stats as well. So that's the first thing we want to do here in the hub. Now, the second thing, although this is counterintuitive, is that we want to actually start a fight in here. So I sent Hobbs outside first so he doesn't get into the trouble we're about to start. And we'll let our main character Jack here talk to this twitchy bar thug who has a white hat. So you have to look out for this guy in particular. So if you right click him and look at his dialogue options, as you can see, he's not a very friendly fellow, but that's perfectly fine. Now, unlike Hobbs, what you want to do here is choose basically the options that will offend him. So we'll crack our knuckles, and there we go. Let's go, Bloodsack. All right. Now, you don't actually want to fight him. You just want to start the fight, and you want to probably run out of the building. So we'll run out. Uh, we'll let the rest of these guys take him out as such. So the reason why this works is that, all right, those guys are down. The reason, pause for a moment. The reason why this works is that basically starting a fight um, within within a place like this is considered a crime. Now, although we technically provoked them, they drew weapons first, so they get their ass beat. Now, why did we bother going through that? Well, obviously we want to get some starting loot. And these guys are not very nice fellows to begin with, so don't worry. Don't feel too bad for them. Now, what I like to do is carry them over to the third important item. So again, the first one is to get and recruit Hobbs. Second one is to start this fight with these bar thugs. And the third thing we like to do is to go over to this little shack over here. Now this would be the only shack that is actually not completely destroyed in the town. Now you don't have to be afraid, even if it says private. For whatever reason, there doesn't seem to be any enforcement of the law, or not much outside of the bar. So once you're in here, what I'd like to do is basically get our spoils. So for some reason, and I think this is by design, these bar thugs, the ones we started the fight with, you can actually take all of their stuff and it doesn't count as a stolen item. So this is basically what I see as a unsaid tutorial, and also our first starting set of gear. So we can get rid of our crappy little pants here. We can have Hobbs pick up this really nice sword as well. And basically you want to loot everything from these guys. Now just to maximize this, what I try to do as well is, well, let's put them down. You see they're pretty badly hurt, right? Now there is an opportunity here. Wow, one of them's even dying. So you can, if Jack does start with a, oh, I guess we don't start with it. So, well, let's leave these two guys in this little shack here for a moment and run back to the bar. Now, as you can see, Hobbs is running much slower since he's carrying all that junk. But we only really need one character to get to the bar. So, just to maximize this encounter, what I like to do here is talk to the barman and buy a few first aid kits. So, as you can see, it looks like we can, the barman is selling 3, so we'll buy all 3. And we'll have Jack over here. Hey, is this person still alive? Why can't we pick him up? Okay, that's a bug. Okay, we'll attack him a bit, and then we're going to, I guess we'll just finish him off. Alright. Now when I say finish him off, we don't usually like to kill them. Not because I am feeling kind, since obviously I'm not. Now, what I want to do is maximize the encounter. So let's drag him back over to the little shack. And again, we're here to maximize the encounter. So besides just the loot, the opportunity that these wounded guys give us is that we can train our first aid skill, which is why we bought a few extra first aid kits. So let me pass one to Hobbs. Alright, so he can help out. Let's loot this guy of everything else he has. Oh, I think I'm out of space. Maybe Hobbs can pick up the last item. We always have room for loot. There we go. Some inventory Tetris. Alright. Now between Jack and Hobbs, you actually have enough space to get everything from these guys. And maybe more for RP purposes, you can close the shack door so that nobody else can see what we're about to do to these guys. Okay. I put them down. And since first aid, a very important skill in this game, only gets trained by actually performing first aid, we might as well maximize this encounter with these these three bar thugs unintuitively by healing them up after starting that fight. So as you can see, their health is going up while we're doing this. And if you look at, let's take a look at Jack's stats, you can see his field medic skills getting trained up as well. So this is a very important skill you want to get to a fairly high level on both of your characters, so that you can pretty much ensure that your characters stay alive. So what I like to do here is, well, smack him around a bit and then heal them up. Alright, so once the guy's max healed, you can actually pick him up and dump him on one of these beds here to recover completely. Now, since we're feeling a little nice and I need to train more first aid skill, I will do first aid on the second thug who's dying. So now they aren't dying. Oh, it looks like this guy got up a bit. Well, that's not gonna be good news for him. And let's use up the first aid kits. Now, unlike other games, the first aid kits are fairly common and inexpensive in Kenshi. So you shouldn't be afraid of using them up, even for healing up these enemies, as it does train up your skill. Now, while that's happening, I can see that this guy's awake, so Hobbs will have to do something about that and make sure this guy's down. Okay, now he's not so awake anymore. There you go. So as you can see, the first aid kits do get used up over time. Wow, this guy just got up again. Okay. And let's have Hobbs. Okay, I think that's the maximum we can maximize about this guy. Can dump him in the bed here, since we're totally a nice person. And then, wow. Let's see. I guess we'll have to knock this guy out again. So, okay, let's make sure he's good and knocked out, and then we do first aid on him. So, as counterintuitive as it is, this is one of the best ways to maximize these three bar thugs, since this is a fairly safe encounter, a fairly safe first encounter you can have here in the hub. Now, while Jack's finishing up there, I just want to point out, in this little shack we just entered, which is supposedly private, there's this little chest. Now, there are a bunch of other items you can safely take from this little shack, but the important ones are within this chest. So if you see, this also gives us a chance now to train another skill, which is lockpicking. So we'll have both of them do lockpicking. Okay, I think I'm out of first aid kit, so that guy's just gonna bleed out on the floor for a while. Too bad for him. Alright. So this allows us to train lockpicking a little bit on the chest. It's interesting to note that lockpicking is trained by failing rather than succeeding, so I think that's to basically balance skill training and all that. So if you look at our lockpicking skill, it does go up a little bit every time we have a failed attempt. That, and it's open. Alright, so with that encounter, you can see our field medic skill also went up quite a bit already. Now, the important thing here when you open this chest is you want to sell and pick up this grog or whatever else that is high value that spawns. Now, for whatever reason, this the items in this house, although they will be stolen when you pick them up, can be sold safely right back at the bar we were at, and that'll give you a good starting amount of cats. So typically, you want to do a quick start with Hobbs and your character, your Wanderer character. Have them get a bit of equipment, uh, care of these unconscious fellows over here, and get you a good amount of starting cats. Now, typically, so as you can see, Grog is worth over 1,000 cats already. So just by doing all this, even without looking at the excess gear you can sell, you can make about, I would say, 3 to 4,000 cats to start with, assuming you keep the better weapons for yourself. So there you have it. And that's all for my quick start guide. You can explore the rest of the hub and wander around a bit more after this. But these are the three main things you want to ensure you perform or do here in the hub before you leave. So again, number one, recruit Hobbs. Number two, start a fight with these guys. Heal them up if you can, so that you can train first aid skill. And number three is to loot, basically lockpick this wooden chest inside this, the only shack that isn't in disrepair, and take everything from it. So with that, thanks for watching. If you guys have another beginner tip you'd like to share, feel free to comment below. And see ya.